Hans Christian Andersen, The Little Mermaid. Narrated by Sir Arthur Irving. Far out in the ocean, where the water is as blue as the petals of the loveliest cornflower and as clear as crystal, lies the Sea King's magnificent kingdom. It is a world of beauty and mystery, filled with vibrant gardens of sea flowers that sway gently in the currents and fish darting among coral branches. The ocean floor, though hidden from sunlight, glows with its own otherworldly brilliance. In the deepest part of this underwater realm stands the Sea King's castle, a grand structure with walls made of coral and large Gothic windows of glimmering amber. The roof is adorned with shells that open and close with the tides, each holding a luminous pearl. The Sea King, a wise and noble ruler, had 6 daughters, each more beautiful than the last. They lived happily in the castle with their grandmother, who cared for them after the Queen's passing. The youngest daughter, the Little Mermaid, was the most enchanting of all. Her skin was as soft and delicate as a rose petal, and her deep blue eyes reflected the endless depths of the sea. But it was not only her beauty that set her apart. She had a quiet, thoughtful nature, and a longing to know about the world above the waves, a world she had never seen but often dreamed about. The Little Mermaid spent her days tending to her small garden in the castle's grounds, planting flowers in patterns inspired by the stories she heard about the human world. Her favorite decoration was a marble statue of a handsome young boy that had fallen into the sea from a shipwreck. She would sit beside it for hours, imagining what life must be like beyond the ocean. Her fascination with the human world grew with each tale her grandmother told her. She learned about the vibrant lands above, where forests were lush and green, birds sang sweet songs, and humans walked on legs instead of tails. Most fascinating of all was the idea that humans had immortal souls, a gift denied to mermaids. While mermaids lived for 300 years, they turned into sea foam upon death, leaving no trace of their existence. Humans, however, lived on forever in the stars. The Little Mermaid's heart ached to know more. As was the custom in her family, each princess was allowed to rise to the surface and see the world above on her 15th birthday. One by one, her older sisters returned with wondrous stories of moonlit skies, sunlit seas, and bustling towns. The Little Mermaid listened eagerly, her curiosity growing with each account. She longed for the day when she too could see these wonders. At last, the Little Mermaid turned 15. With her grandmother's blessing, she rose to the surface and found herself near a magnificent ship, celebrating the birthday of a young prince. The ship was adorned with lanterns and filled with music and laughter. From a distance, the Little Mermaid admired the prince's kind and regal bearing. She felt a deep connection to him, even though they belonged to entirely different worlds. As she watched, a sudden storm struck. The waves grew fierce, and the ship was torn apart. The Little Mermaid braved the storm to rescue the prince, carrying him to shore near a temple. She stayed hidden as a young girl from the temple found him and cared for him. The prince never knew who had truly saved him, but the Little Mermaid's love for him was sealed that day. The Little Mermaid returned to her underwater world, but she could not forget the prince or the life above the waves. Her longing grew stronger, and she spent her days gazing up at the surface, dreaming of being part of his world. Her garden, once a source of joy, became neglected as her thoughts turned elsewhere. Her sisters noticed her sadness and tried to cheer her, but nothing could ease her yearning. Driven by love and desperation, the Little Mermaid decided to seek the help of the Sea Witch, a cunning and dangerous sorceress who lived in a dark corner of the ocean. The journey to the witch's lair was treacherous, passing through whirlpools and forests of polypi, half-plant, half-animal creatures with slimy arms that reached out to ensnare her. The water grew colder and darker as she approached, and the eerie silence of the witch's domain sent shivers through her. At last, she arrived at the witch's house, built from the bones of shipwrecked sailors and covered in slimy moss. The sea witch appeared, with eyes like dark pits and a voice that slithered through the water. She listened to the little mermaid's plea and smiled wickedly. "I can grant your wish," the witch said, "but the price is steep." The witch explained that she would give the mermaid a potion to transform her tail into legs, allowing her to live among humans. However, every step would feel like walking on sharp knives, and if the prince married another, the mermaid would die and dissolve into sea foam. The price for the potion was her voice, the most beautiful in the sea. Despite the risks, the little mermaid agreed, driven by her love for the prince. The witch laughed as she prepared the potion, throwing strange ingredients into her cauldron and chanting dark spells. The water around them bubbled and frothed, and the potion glowed with an eerie light. The witch took the mermaid's voice, leaving her silent, and handed her the potion. "Drink this when you reach the shore," she said, "and remember, there is no turning back." After drinking the potion, the little mermaid awoke on the shore near the prince's palace, her tail replaced by legs. Though the transformation was excruciating, she was filled with hope. The prince found her and brought her to his palace. Her beauty and grace captivated him, but he saw her as a dear companion, not realizing she was the one who had saved his life. The prince grew fond of the little mermaid, calling her his dear little foundling. She danced for him despite the pain it caused her, and her expressive eyes conveyed the love she could not voice. Yet his heart remained with the girl from the temple, whom he believed to be his savior. When a neighboring king's daughter arrived, the prince was overjoyed to find she resembled the girl he remembered. Believing her to be his true love, he announced their engagement. The little mermaid's heart broke, but she remained silent, unable to reveal the truth. On the night before the wedding, her sisters came to her with a dagger they had obtained from the sea witch. They told her that if she killed the prince and let his blood fall on her feet, she could become a mermaid again and avoid death. The sisters' faces were pale with sorrow, and their once flowing hair had been cut short as part of their bargain with the witch. The little mermaid's love for the prince was too great. She kissed his forehead as he slept, then threw the dagger into the sea and leapt into the water, ready to dissolve into foam. She closed her eyes, accepting her fate, but something miraculous happened. To her surprise, she did not vanish. Instead, she found herself rising into the sky, surrounded by ethereal beings, the daughters of the air. They explained that because of her selflessness and the sacrifices she had made, she was given the chance to earn an immortal soul. By doing good deeds and helping humanity for 300 years, she could one day join the eternal world she had longed for. The little mermaid looked down at the prince and his bride, who were searching the sea, mourning her loss. Though unseen, she kissed the bride's forehead and fanned the prince's cheeks. With hope and purpose, she ascended with the daughters of the air, determined to earn the immortality she had once thought impossible. In her heart, the little mermaid felt a sense of peace. Though her love for the prince remained, she embraced her new journey, knowing her sacrifices had not been in vain. As she floated among the clouds, she whispered a silent blessing for the prince and his bride, wishing them happiness, and so her story became one of transformation, love, and the enduring hope of a soul earned through kindness and sacrifice.